Part 164. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1631. The dragon energy condensed on the body of Jingxiao sword turned into a sharp sword energy and shot through the air as I swung the sword. The sword energy cut through the river water and directly split it into two. The water of the yellow river divides into two halves and flows towards my left and right sides respectively. The sword energy slashed towards Ba Snake with a devastating force. When the huge sword energy touched Ba Snake opened his bloody mouth and let out a heartbreaking howl. Ba Snake's body was too hard, so this sword could not kill it directly. However, the sword energy did not disappear when it touched Ba Snake, but was tearing apart Ba Snake's body like a hacksaw. This sword is still not powerful enough, so it seems that I can only use that move. I took a deep breath and raised my hand again. I recited the magic formula silently in my heart, and in an instant, countless starlights descended from the sky, penetrated the river water, and converged on the Jingxiao sword body. This sword is called Zhongtian Yujian. The full name of Emperor Ziwei is the Great Emperor Zhongtian Ziwei North Pole. He is also the Lord of the Stars and the Grand Master of everything. Zhongtian's sword is a sword wielded by gathering the power of thousands of stars. According to legend, if you can master this sword skillfully, you can split the sky in half, which is equivalent to giving the sky a middle part. There are many Taoist sword techniques. I knew nothing about sword techniques before, but as my memory awakened, some memories about sword techniques also came to my mind. This sword is the strongest move I can use so far. If this sword cannot kill Ba Snake, I will have no choice but to unlock the spiritual vein seal again. I looked focused and swung my sword without any hesitation. A sword energy that gathered the power of thousands of stars shot through the air. The sword energy emits dazzling starlight, shining brightly in the dark water like the Milky Way falling into the mortal world. With this sword swing, I felt all the power in my body was drained away. This sword whizzed towards Ba Snake's 7 inches. Just hear a puff. Ba Snake's huge body was cut into two halves, and the scarlet blood instantly stained the river water. Seeing this scene, the stone hanging in my heart finally fell to the ground. The moment the Ba Snake was killed by me, the snake girl hovering in the river let out a piercing scream and finally turned into nothingness and disappeared. The water curtain soaring into the sky also landed instantly and the ancient dragon ship crashed down towards me. I have no strength at all now and can only watch the dragon ancient ship crashing towards me. At this moment, I felt someone pinch me at the back of my neck. I looked back subconsciously and saw Zhao Mian wearing a devil mask appearing behind me. He pulled me back to the dragon ancient ship. As soon as I boarded the boat, the dragon ancient boat hit the water heavily. I was breathing heavily, and Zhao Mian looked at me and said, "Your Majesty, you are so powerful. You killed the snake with one sword." I looked at Zhao Mian and said, "Stop flattering me. Your strength is above mine. If you take action, I won't be in such a mess. I'm not kidding when I say this. Zhao Mian's strength is a mystery. I have never seen him use his full strength. If Zhao Mian used all his strength, it would be easy to kill the Ba Snake." The mysterious man didn't even look at me and directly ordered the 9 dragons to swim forward. Emperor Jinwu actually cared about me for a few words, but didn't say anything else. The dragon ancient ship sailed out of the valley and continued to move forward. Zhao Mian found a pile of dry firewood from nowhere and started a fire on the deck. The Ryago ship is not made of wood, and there is no need to worry about lighting a fire that will set the entire ship on fire. Zhao Mian said to me, "The water in the Yellow River is cold, it will feel better if you bake it." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1632. I was slightly startled, looked at Zhao Mian and said with some surprise, "I never thought you would still care about people." Zhao Mian rolled his eyes and said, "We are now in a cooperative relationship. If something happens to you, my plan will fail. When I help you, I am also helping myself. I smiled, said nothing, and just looked at the burning bonfire. Zhao Mian also sat down. He looked at me, hesitated for a moment, and said, "Have you ever thought about taking this opportunity to completely cut off contact with Su Tianxian? Disconnect." I looked at Zhao Mian doubtfully. Zhao Mian nodded and replied, "That's right, just cut off contact. Your fate has already been determined. You and her are destined to be fruitless, so you might as well take advantage of this opportunity to break off the relationship earlier." I smiled bitterly and said, "You don't understand her. If I cut off contact with her, she will go crazy and look for me all over the world. It is better to spend her last days like this." Zhao Mian stared at me and asked, "Have you ever thought about what would happen to this world if our plan succeeds and all the gods in this world fall?" "Never thought about." Zhao Mian looked at the bonfire, and the light flashed in his eyes. He murmured, "This world is about balance. Without God, the world will fall into chaos." I frowned, looked at Zhao Mian, and asked, "Since you asked this question, it means you already have a solution. Tell me what it is." Zhao Mian laughed and said, "Your Majesty, you are so smart. You guessed exactly what I was thinking. Stop talking nonsense, just talk." Zhao Mian replied, "If we want to achieve our goal, we must make sacrifices. After that, the world will be devastated. Only the sky coffin can save everything. Pangu created the heaven and the earth, and one element gave rise to two qi. The clear yang is the sky, and the turbid yin is the earth. Both heaven and earth have souls, and the foundation of the sky coffin is these two breaths. To put it simply, they are the soul of heaven and the soul of earth. The sky coffin is made by you using the two souls of heaven and earth. If the sky coffin is destroyed, the world will be destroyed. If the sky coffin remains, the world will remain. I have always been curious about the origin of the sky coffin, and now I know that the sky coffin was originally made of sky souls and earth souls." Zhao Mian continued, "If this world becomes devastated, only you can save everything by sacrificing yourself and lying in the sky coffin." I looked at Zhao Mian and asked word by word, "So you have arranged everything a long time ago, and after the plan is completed, you will use my life to repair the world?" "That's right. After learning about this, I didn't have any fluctuations in my heart. My life is no longer mine. If I die, I can still save this world, which is not a bad thing." But what Zhao Mian said next made my heart lift into my throat. "Do you know why Su Tianxian ended the inheritance so quickly?" I frowned and asked, "Why?" Zhao Mian looked at me with a smile and said, "Of course it's because of you." I suddenly remembered one thing, that is, Su Tianxian will lose all his memories if he successfully inherits it. But now Su Tianxian's memories are completely preserved. Is it possible? My heart immediately panicked. I stood up suddenly, grabbed Zhao Mian's neck and asked sternly, "Is it your fault?" Zhao Mian was not annoyed, he still looked at me with a half-smiling expression and said, "What do you think? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1633. These three words made me feel angry. I raised my fist and punched Zhao Mian hard in the face. The evil ghost mask fell off Zhao Mian's face and he fell directly to the ground. I sat on Zhao Mian and raised my fist to hit him in the face angrily. "Why? Why the hell did you provoke her? It doesn't matter what you do to me. Why do you want to plot against him?" I once saw a scene before Su Tianxian came back. That picture was created by Xin Wen. In the picture, a person is telling Su Tianxian to leave. I never knew who this person was, but now I know, this person is Zhao Mian. As Zhao Mian said, he was not a good person to begin with, but I was lucky enough to think that Zhao Mian would not be so crazy and crazy. Now it seems that I was overthinking it. I am too naive. No wonder Su Tianqian has been so abnormal recently. It turns out that the inheritance failed. The consequences of Su Tianxuan's failure to pass on the inheritance are serious. That would destroy both body and spirit. Why? Tell me. Why do you want to provoke her? I yelled at Zhao Mian with scarlet eyes. Ha ha ha. Zhao Mian looked up to the sky and laughed with blood on his face. He looked at me jokingly and said, "Why? Of course you and I are one. If you die in the end, I will die too. And, you still need to preside over the overall situation of this world. How can you die? Su Tianqian, like you, can repair the broken world in the end. Even if there is no God in this world. As long as she dies, her flesh and blood will be repaired and spread to all parts of the world. Whether God exists or not is not that important. I think Su Tianqian is happy to die for you. After all, in order to remember you, she even risked her inheritance and even her life." My heart was filled with anger. I looked at Zhao Mian coldly and said, "You said that you and I are one, then I will stuff you into the sky coffin, and Su Tianqian and I will not have to die." Zhao Mian snorted coldly and said, "Do you have this ability? No, right? If not, then just continue with the next thing obediently. Anyway, as long as you enter the sky coffin, Su Tianqian will live. However, you have to convince Su Tianqian not to die for you." Zhao Mian's 2 words instantly drained my strength, and I collapsed on the ground. Yes, my ending is doomed. If my death can exchange for Su Tianxuan's life, then I will choose to die without hesitation. I finally understood why Zhao Mian asked me if I wanted to break off the relationship with Su Tianqian. It turns out he wanted me to make a decision. If Su Tianqian and I continue to be entangled, Su Tianqian will definitely choose to die for me. It is better to take advantage of this opportunity and bear everything myself. At this time, colorful lights flashed between my eyebrows, and colorful butterflies slowly gathered in front of me. Cai Dai appeared and beat and kicked Zhao Mian. "I've known for a long time that you have no good intentions. Are you really happy doing this? Are you really happy?" Zhao Mian did not fight back and allowed Cai Dai to hit him. I looked at the words in my palm and made a decision after hesitating for a while. I summoned Jingxiao and cut off the flesh on my palm without any hesitation. As long as Xinwen is destroyed, Su Tianqian will not find me. Kadi noticed my move and rushed toward me like crazy. "Lu Su, what are you doing?" Nadia grabbed my hand and shouted. "I'm fine." I looked at Zhao Mian and said word by word, "If you want me to continue working for you, just stay here and don't provoke Su Tianqian, otherwise, I will definitely make all your plans fail." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1634. Zhao Mian stood up slowly, wiped the blood from his face and said with a smile, "That's natural. Because of my anger, my whole body kept shaking. The flesh and blood on my palms was cut off by me, but I couldn't feel any pain and let the blood flow down my palms. The movement on our side attracted the attention of Emperor Jinwu and the mysterious man. They just glanced at me and didn't say anything. Kaidi held my hand and said distressedly, "Lu Su, why are you doing this? When you draw the sword to cut the flesh, the bones are exposed." I looked at Cai Dai and forced a smile and said, "I'm fine." Kadi was so distressed that she almost cried, tears rolling crazily in her eyes. "How can it be okay? Just don't move and I'll heal you." After saying that, Cai Dai's palm flashed with colorful light. Under the 7-colored light, the bleeding in my palm stopped, but it would take some time to recover my flesh and blood. "Nabi," I called softly. Kadi raised her head and looked at me. I said in a hoarse voice, Don't tell Tianxian about this. Kaidi bit her lips tightly and asked, Lu Su, are you going to abandon Sister Tianxian? That's right, I nodded and replied, there is only one person left between me and her. I don't have much time, and she doesn't have much time either. However, if I can take this opportunity to break up with her, if you open contact, I will be the one who dies in the future. I am a giant whirlpool and anyone who comes near me will be sucked into it. If I cut off contact with Su Tianxian, she won't know where I am, and even if she wants to exchange her life for her life, she won't be able to do it. I really didn't expect that Su Tianxian would choose to end the inheritance for the sake of the memory between us, and face the end of being destroyed in body and spirit alone. But Lu Su, have you ever thought that Sister Tianxian will be very sad if you do this? I smiled bitterly and said, being sad is better than losing your life. Along the way, Su Tianxian has become an inseparable presence in my heart. Without her, I would not be where I am now. If one of us has to die, I want it to be me. Kaidi didn't say anything. I looked at her and continued, after this, you can return to Ji Yuntang. I can handle the rest by myself. Kaidi was silent for a long time, looked at me with tearful eyes, and said, Lu Su, Ji Yuntang means a lot to me. It is my only home, but, do you know the meaning of home? Home does not refer to a house, but to the people who live in it. Home is where you, Sister Tianxian, and Sister Huaxiu are. You abandoned us, is home still home? I looked at Cai Dai blankly. I never thought that she could say such a thing so heartlessly. Someone has to take responsibility for everything. If I continue to stay by your side, something will happen to you. If you are no longer here, then the so-called home is just an empty house. Kadi was about to say something but I interrupted her. Okay, I've made up my mind, don't say any more. Kadi looked at me with a grieved face, raised her fist and hit me hard on the chest. Lu Su. You bastard. You are the only one who is noble. You are the only one who is selfless. But you never thought that, neither I nor Sister Tianxian would be willing to give everything for this family. I stretched out my hand to rub Cai Dai's head, but Cai Dai turned her face away in anger and stopped paying attention to me. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1635. Zhao Mian stood on the deck and suddenly said, Lu Su, I advise you to cheer up now, because the land of the fallen god is coming. I slowly stood up and went to the bow of the ship to look far into the distance. The yellow river in front of us suddenly became broad, as vast as the sea. The edge could not be seen at a glance. The cold moonlight poured on the water of the yellow river, as if it were covered with a layer of silvery white gauze. The evening wind blew and the river flowed. The white-silver sand set off waves and moved towards the distance. At this time, I suddenly saw a huge whirlpool suddenly appearing on the surface of the yellow river not far away. The vortex spins clockwise and sucks everything into the center. It seems that the whirlpool is the entrance to the land of the fallen god. The ancient dragon ship moved slowly. When it approached the whirlpool, the huge ancient dragon ship was instantly sucked into it. I quickly shouted to Cai Dai, hold the railing. Although Cai Dai was angry, she was also very obedient. She held tightly to the railing of the keel boat. Immediately afterwards, the huge ancient dragon ship began to rotate crazily clockwise, and even the 9 dragons could not resist the powerful suction. I grabbed the railing tightly and felt dizzy and nauseated for a moment. Soon, the dragon ancient ship was directly sucked into the vortex. The next second, my eyes went dark. I felt that the keel ship was descending rapidly. After about tens of seconds, the dragon ancient ship hit the ground heavily. This time it almost fell. Didn't throw me away. It took me a while to regain my composure. I resisted the urge to vomit and took a few deep breaths to look around. The surroundings were pitch black without any light. It was as if I had fallen into endless darkness and could not see anything. Nidai. Are you okay? I asked loudly. At this time I heard a wow sound, and after a while the sound of colorful butterflies came. I'm fine. Suddenly. Starlight suddenly lit up directly under the ancient dragon boat, and I realized that we were still above the water, a river within a river. The bright lights are floating in the water, and the colors are as beautiful as the stars falling into the deep sea. Not only that, but stars began to appear in the surrounding air, just like fireflies on a summer night. Is this the land of the fallen god? I asked doubtfully. Emperor Jinhui replied, no, the land of the fallen god is still ahead. The ancient dragon ship continued to move forward. I don't know how long it took, but a huge yin and yang diagram suddenly appeared in the darkness not far away. The yin and yang diagram rotates in the sky, and the surrounding auspicious clouds give people a feeling of reality and illusion. The keelboat stopped suddenly. Before I could figure out what was going on, I saw a person suddenly walking out of the yin-yang diagram. I saw that man holding two whips, with a face like pale gold, a 5-willow-long beard, flying behind his head, and riding a dark unicorn under his crotch. When I saw this person's eyebrows, my whole person immediately froze on the spot. Eyes of the sky, double whips, a black unicorn, this person is the Grand Master of Yin Shang, the nine heavens Ying Yuan Thunder universalized the heavenly Lord Wenzhong. A strong sense of oppression slowly spread from Master Wen's body. This sense of oppression made my soul tremble. Master Wen stopped not far from the ancient dragon ship. At this time, Master Wen waved his hand casually, and the yin-yang diagram behind him began to rotate rapidly. The next second, a huge figure walked out of the yin-yang diagram, followed by a second figure. The third, the fourth. When I saw clearly what these four huge figures looked like, huge waves surged in my heart again. These four people turned out to be the four great kings of heaven, the king of state control, the king of growth, the king of Guangmu and the king of Duoan. This is not over yet. After the four heavenly kings, countless figures fly out from the yin and yang diagram. I identified them one by one, and my brows became tighter and tighter. At this moment, I realized that the gods were going to great lengths to get the god list and the god whip. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1636. These people are flying in the clouds and mist, with different shapes and sizes, and are surrounded by thunder and lightning. I looked at Yin Shang Grand Master Wenzhong and saw that he was also looking at me. Grand Master Wenzhong of the Yin Shang dynasty was very strong, but after only 50 years of training, his strength was already comparable to that of Deluo Jingxian. Moreover, after the conferring God War, Zhangxia had consecrated a total of 365 righteous gods, and Wenzhong was the only one. Wenzhong conferred the name of the heavenly Lord named Jushin Yingyuan Thunderous Universal Transformation Heavenly Lord. He was responsible for life and death, rewards and punishments for good and evil, moving clouds and spreading rain, killing demons and subjugating demons, and commanding thunder. Illuminating the heavenly heart path above, and helping the sufferings of the netherworld and others below. He is the highest god of the Thunder Department and is in charge of the complex Thunder God organization. Moreover, Wenzhong's subordinates include General Jushin Thunder Lord, Beifang Yunli General, Wuifang Barbaric Thunder Envoy, and 36 Thunder Lords. These gods who appear later should all be Wenzhong's subordinates. This kind of battle is enough to frighten people, let alone the four heavenly kings present. The four heavenly kings are the four brothers of the magic family, Moli Qing, Moli Hong, Moli Hai and Moli Xiao. However, if we go back further, the four heavenly kings are not the four demon brothers, because the four heavenly kings are the four gods in the 20 heavens of Buddhism. They are the great protectors of Buddhism and are commonly known as the four Vajras among the people. After the list of gods, the four brothers of the demon family became the four heavenly kings. The four brothers of the demon family are not easy to use. The treasures in their hands are very troublesome. King Duoan, the sea of magic rituals, has a spear, and a jade lute on his back, with 4 strings on it. He also presses the earth, water, fire, and wind strings, and when the strings are plucked, the wind and fire come together. The Guangmu Heavenly King, in the red color of the magic gift, is holding a Hunyuan pearl umbrella. When the umbrella is opened, the sky is dark and the earth is dark, and the sun and moon have no light. When he turns around, the universe shakes. The King of Growth, named Mo Licking, is 2 feet 4 feet long, has a face like a living crab, and a beard like a copper wire. Holding a Qingfeng sword, this sword can mobilize thousands of spears in the earth, water, fire, and wind. If a person touches this blade, his limbs will turn into powder. If he touches fire, golden snakes will twine in the air. There was black smoke all over the place, the smoke obscured people's eyes, and the flames burned people without any protection. The heavenly king of the state of Drita, the magic ritual of longevity, uses 2 whips. There is something in the bag, which is shaped like a white rat, and is called flower fox and marten. He puts it in the air and appears like a white elephant, with flying wings growing on its ribs. It eats all the people in the world. When Zhong rode Mo Kailan to the long ancient ship, and the mysterious man and Emperor Jinwu jumped off the long ancient ship. In the divine world, titles are divided into different levels. Tianzun is above the emperor. In other words, Emperor Ziwei and Emperor Jinwu are lower in level than Tianzun. Are things arranged? The mysterious man asked. Wen Zhong spoke slowly and said, I have already made arrangements. Is he Lu Su? Wen Zhong looked at me, and I instantly felt a pressure coming over me. This pressure seemed to make my soul tremble. At this time, Wen Zhong's third eye suddenly opened, and then a beam of white light swept straight towards me. Wen Zhong's eyes can distinguish between good and evil, right from wrong, and right from wrong. He is looking at my strength. Just when the white light hit me, a dazzling purple light emitted from my whole body directly offset the white light emitted from Wen Zongtian's eyes. Wen Zhong frowned and said, even my heavenly eye can't see through it. He looked at me again and said loudly, Fihu, I haven't seen my old friend for many years, why don't you come out and catch up on old times? As soon as I finished speaking, a white mist slowly condensed in front of me, and a moment later, King Di appeared in front of me. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1637. The Qing Emperor is the Dongyu Emperor, and the Qing Emperor was Huangfihu before he became a god. The 7th generation of the Huangfihu family was loyal and held a high position in the Shang dynasty. Huangfihu's father, Huanggun, was a famous town marshal in the Shang dynasty. Huangfihu was named King Wuchen of the town. The Yin and Shang court had 2 important ministers, civil and military. The civil minister was Taishi Wenzhong, and the military commander was Wuchen King Huangfihu. The 2 had equal status. They joined forces to assist King Zhou in handling government affairs, and for a time the Yin and Shang were governed in an orderly manner. But since Sudaji entered the palace, Huangfihu and the Yin and Shang dynasties parted ways. Emperor Qing looked at Wen Zhong and said with a smile, Master Wen, long time no see. Wen Zhong also had a smile on his face, and the 2 chatted for a while. Master Wen suddenly asked, Fihu, who are you working for now? The smile on King Di's face slowly disappeared and he asked, what about you? Of course it's the way of heaven. King Di sneered and said, is it the way of heaven? Then what you did today is really in line with the way of heaven. Wen Zhong looked at King Di and said word by word, Fihu, I know that you only do wrong things that go against the will of heaven when you are confused for a moment. Now, if you choose to come back, we will still welcome you. Kingdi glanced at me and said, I never think it is wrong to go against nature. As the saying goes, the world is unkind and treats all things as stupid dogs. You don't know what the entire God realm has become now, do you? I know, of course I know, but the way of heaven cannot be disobeyed. Breaking the way of heaven will only make the world more chaotic. Kingdi waved his hand and said, it goes without saying. If you and I have different positions, it will only be a waste of time if we continue to talk. Wen Zhong just smiled and said nothing. The mysterious man spoke at this time and said, Lu Su, come down. Master Wen and the gods are here to help you today. Since you already feel like cooperating with us, we will naturally provide some help. Hearing this sentence, I sneered in my heart, offer help? In my opinion, it kills me. My only value to the gods is to obtain the god list and the god whip, and of course to open the tomb of the gods. I jumped off the dragon ancient ship, came to the mysterious man, and said, then I wish us a happy cooperation. Of course. Then, we walked into the yin and yang diagram. The scene on the other side of the yin-yang diagram took my breath away. The whole world seems to be in the sea of stars. Countless stars linger in all directions, and this scene can only be described as stunning. In addition, a large formation was slowly running not far away. There are 4 huge stone swords floating in the air in the formation, and there are chains connecting the 4 stone swords. There is a piece of land suspended in the center of the 4 stone swords, and there is a huge palace on the land. If I guessed correctly, this formation was the immortal killing formation, because I could feel the unparalleled killing energy even before I got close to it. It seemed that if I got close enough, the killing energy would swallow me up on the spot, leaving no intact corpse. As for the huge palace in the sky, it should be where Zhangzia's coffin is. Moreover, I also discovered that there was a huge golden vortex directly above the Zuxian formation. The vortex gave me a very familiar feeling. Kaidi tugged at the corner of my clothes at this time and whispered, Lu Su, in that whirlpool is the dream world, which is the tomb of the gods. Hearing this sentence, my brows immediately knitted together. At this moment, I suddenly understood one thing. The purpose of the immortal killing formation was not to protect Zhangzia's tomb, but to suppress the tombs of the gods. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1638. If I break the immortal killing formation, the door from the tombs of the gods to the secular world will be opened. But, isn't it said that Zhu Shaxing and Su Tianqian are the keys to the tomb of the gods? It's useless to think about it now. I must break the immortal killing formation, because only in this way can I get the divine whip and the list of gods. Wen Zhong looked at the Zuxian formation and said to me, okay, now it's your turn to join the formation. Don't worry, we will wait for you outside. If you encounter any danger, we will not stand idly by. Hearing this sentence, I sneered in my heart. I won't stand idly by, then join the battle with me. Why are you talking about these things here? I didn't expect God to be so hypocritical. I said to Wenzhong, where is Sudaji? Without her, even if I could go in, I wouldn't be able to get those 2 things. The mysterious man took a step forward and said, I have already thought about it for you. After saying that, the mysterious man clapped his hands, and the next second several figures in the darkness came towards me. When the figure got closer, I saw clearly that it was Sudaji. At this time, Sudaji was walking towards the side between 2 thunder gods. Sudaji was covered in blood, so she must have been seriously injured. I frowned more and more. What on earth are these guys doing? The 2 thunder lords threw Sudaji in front of me. I helped Sudaji up. Sudaji smiled bitterly at me and said, Lu Su, you are here. I asked, why did they hit you? Nothing. How can I say that Sudaji has been missing and was arrested by the gods? The mysterious man came to Sudaji and looked at Sudaji condescendingly. Remember what you promised us. If you dare to play tricks, you will definitely be driven to pieces. Sudaji glanced at the mysterious man, his eyes full of anger. Okay, I get it. Although she was angry, she could only give in at this time. Afterwards, Sudaji, Cai and I walked towards the immortal killing formation. Arriving at the edge of the Xuxian formation, a Tai Chi Bagua stone slab slowly fell from the sky. I looked back at Zhao Mian and asked, "Aren't you coming with us?" Zhao Mian looked at me and said word by word, "I have other things to do. Only you can break the Xuxian formation. Anyone who enters it will only die. Besides, I can't help you much if I go. This matter is just you can rely on yourself." I saw Zhao Mian step onto the Tai Chi Bagua slate without saying anything. The stone slab slowly rose, and the figures of the gods on the ground began to become smaller and finally disappeared. I asked Sudaji, "What did they force you to do?" Sudaji looked at me, blinked, and asked, "Are you worried about me? Do you think I care about you?" Sudaji's eyes suddenly turned resentful and said, "The slave family knows that you don't care about the slave family. However, your heart is really cruel, and you are not even willing to deceive the slave family." Cai Dai looked at Sudaji and rolled her eyes, saying, "Vix." Sudaji pursed her lips and said with a smile, "The slave family is a vixen. Okay, don't talk about some things that are available or not. What on earth are they forcing you to do?" Sudaji said faintly, "They asked me to kill you after you obtain the divine whip and the list of gods, and then sacrifice you and open the tomb of the gods. Sure enough, the gods have placed all their bets on escaping from the tomb of the gods this time. The idea is beautiful, but I will not let them get their wish." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1639. The stone steps are about to approach the huge stone sword. Sudaji looked at the darkness below and suddenly said to me, "Lu Su, do you think you can leave here alive?" I replied calmly, "I have already put life and death aside, but I will try my best to survive." Sudaji sighed slightly and said, "I'm afraid it will be difficult to do. Although there are restrictions from the laws of heaven and earth, the land of meteoric gods is the closest place to the tombs of the gods. Wen Zhong and others will exert half or even more of their power. Strength. Besides, the gods didn't ask Wen Zhong to come alone. He just revealed that there are still people who are eyeing you secretly." I looked at Sudaji in confusion and asked, "How do you know? Could it be that you are an undercover agent?" Sudaji rolled her eyes and said, "You are really good at thinking. I am not an undercover agent. Based on my understanding of them, they will definitely do this. Besides, the gods don't have much time. They plan to take this opportunity to kill you and let the 9 evil stars in your body sacrifice to open the tomb of the gods." I was startled and asked, "How can they open the tomb of the gods with only the 6 evils in my body?" Stupid. Although there is no way to completely open the tomb of the gods, you can still open it halfway, and some powerful gods can come out. Once they come out, do you think they can't get the remaining 3 evil spirits with their strength? I frowned more and more. I already knew that this trip was a trap set by the gods, but I didn't expect that the gods actually wanted to get it done in one step. So, once you break through the immortal killing formation and get the divine whip and the list of gods, you will die. Sudaji's words paused and she said, "But don't worry, maybe your strength will increase when you break the formation, and it won't be a big problem to deal with them then. It seems you mean to return to the palace voluntarily." Sudaji looked at me with a smile and said, "Of course, you have found 3 tails for me. Although you haven't found those 3 tails for me yet, it doesn't matter. Let you improve your Taoism first, and then go and help me get those 3 tails back." I asked in confusion, "Where are your three tails?" Sudaji pointed to the palace suspended in the air and said, "It's right there, but if you want to enter that palace, you must break the immortal killing formation." Sudaji thought for a moment and looked around cautiously, then whispered in my ear, "You must take the Zuxian sword, the immortal killing sword, the immortal trapping sword, and the absolute immortal sword as your own. This is your only capital to compete with the gods. But with these four swords, you can't use the immortal killing formation, because the formation map of the immortal killing formation is in that palace. Enter the immortal killing formation, I will give you a treasure, and then I will tell you how to master the four divine swords." It seems that Sudaji has arranged everything a long time ago, and she is on my side. When she said this, I felt low in my heart. Soon, we came to the huge stone sword that represented the Zuxian sword. There is a huge hole in the body of the huge stone sword, which should be the passage into the formation. The stone steps brought Sudaji and I to the entrance of the cave. Sudaji said, "After you successfully obtain the immortal killing sword, I will take you into the sky coffin, but if you want me to return to the palace voluntarily, you still need to do something matter." "What's the matter?" "You will know when you enter the sky coffin. As long as you can accomplish that thing, I will let all my fox sons and grandsons in the sky coffin teach you their own demon power." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanba. Chapter 1640. From Sudaji's words, I can tell that the sixth floor of the sky coffin is a fox demon. However, there is a question in my mind. I asked, "If you teach me all the demon power of your fox son and grandson, can I successfully master this power?" After all, it is demon power, not mysterious energy. Sudaji looked at me and said, "Yes, you have to believe in yourself, but it will take you a while to transform the demon power into profound energy, which is your power. If you can do this, your strength will make a qualitative leap." I nodded, looked at the entrance of the cave, and said, "Then let's go in." Sudaji agreed. I looked at Cai Dai beside me, then squatted down, stretched out my hand to rub her head, and said, "Cai Dai, please return to my body first, and then you can help me when I encounter any difficulties." Cai Dai shook her head and replied, "No. I want to stay with you. But it's too dangerous inside." Kaidi put her hands on her hips and raised her pretty face, saying, "What? Lusu, you look down on me." "I'm not, I'm just worried about you." Cai Dai rolled her eyes, and then started to knead the formula with her chubby little hands. Then, her whole body emitted colorful light. After the light dissipated, Cai Dai stood in front of me in an adult posture. When Cai Dai grew up, she was almost as tall as me, and her colorful hair hung down to her waist. The playful look between her eyebrows also disappeared a little, replaced by indifference and indifference. "Hey, this little thing can even transform." Sudaji smiled on the side. Kaidi glanced at Sudaji coldly and said, "Shut up, vixen. Be careful, I'll get rotten all over." Sudaji shrugged and said nothing. At this time, Kingdi's voice sounded in my mind. "Lusu, this immortal killing formation is extremely dangerous. I cannot show up. Once I show up, I will be directly obliterated by the sword energy, so I will give you a reminder in your head. Kingdi has been sleeping for a long time, and now that he wakes up, the first thing he does is help me, which makes me feel a little sorry. Okay, I'll trouble you then. Kingdi is the great emperor of Dongyu. Such a powerful figure will be instantly shaken when he appears in the immortal killing formation. This shows that the power of the immortal killing formation is extraordinary." I took a deep breath and walked into the cave with Cai Dai and Sudaji. It was pitch dark inside the cave. I didn't know how long I had been walking, but a little light appeared in front of me. I quickened my steps, and when I got closer to the light, the scene in front of me suddenly became clear. I looked around and discovered that the entire huge stone sword had been hollowed out. Countless chains spread from all directions towards the middle, and a sword hung in the middle. That sword should be the Xuxian sword. From a distance, I could feel the powerful pressure emanating from the sword of the Xuxian sword. This pressure made my legs tremble slightly. The Xuxian sword has a strange texture, looks like stone but not stone, and has a simple style. 2 words are clearly carved on the blade, Xuxian. There is a poem describing the Xuxian sword like this. It is neither copper, nor iron, nor steel. It was once hidden under Mount Sumeru. If you don't need to reverse the yin and yang to refine, how can there be no water and fire to temper the itch? Killing the immortal is powerful, killing the immortal is dead, and trapping the immortal glows red everywhere. The changes of the immortals are endless and wonderful, and the clothes of the great gods are stained with blood. Through this poem, we can see how powerful the Xuxian sword is. The Deluo immortals' clothes will be stained with blood under this sword. Even if ordinary people come close, even this powerful sword can shatter their hearts.